wanted to run you through the cost of upgrading your R1250GS on a budget. So let's get after it. So just kind of running you guys through what I've done on my bike. Some of these upgrades are kind of considered a budget upgrade because it's something I didn't really think that I needed to spend a bunch of money on. I just didn't see the point. And some of them I've put a little bit more money into, so you can kind of see what I've done here. All right, so let's start at the back of the bike. I did plan on getting the GV quick release hard cases, which I haven't done yet, just because I got these Lomo pannier cases. They're just dry bags, but man, they actually do the job really well. And I haven't really felt the need to upgrade at this point, you know, so it's not really that big of a deal. The quick release racks were running me $220, and then the Lomo bags all together with the import tax from shipping from the UK to Portugal was $118. That's just kind of the cost there for those two pieces. Okay, nobody really wants to spend a ton of money upgrading their bike. Maybe you do, maybe you have a ton of expendable cash. For me, I would rather spend my money touring and going on trips and paying for gas. So that's why on some of these things I've kind of, you know, just done the bare minimum, if you will, but also giving me the functionality with quality stuff. So yes, looking at about $220 for these. If you did want to upgrade and actually put the hard cases on here from GV, the quick release, you're looking at about $700 or $750 for those two cases. You'd look at even more for the top case. I think the top case is around $300, and I think you'd have to get a different base for the bottom here, but mine came with the BMW Vario case, so I've just kept that. Works fine for me. Upper and lower crash guards here, I went with the Moteas. The Motea crash guards have been great. As you can see, I've already dropped the bike and they held up well. It was $250 for the upper and lowers, which is, if you know anything, if you have been shopping around at all for upper and lower crash guards, that is like unheard of. $250 for upper and lowers, that is crazy good. So these things have been great for me. The quality's been pretty good. I did drop them and chip them a little bit and they started to rust, so I had to clean that up and spray paint it with an anti-rust, anti-corrosion spray paint. Other than that, they've been absolutely amazing. If you look at anything like SW Motec or anything, $500-600 for uppers and lowers, and I actually didn't like how the lowers looked on the SW Motec. They were like circular here and they didn't have this bar. I really wanted this bar here because I didn't want to put extra protection here actually on the case. All right, moving around the bike, you have got my amazing Denali D4s. These lights are absolutely incredible. This is where I did not skimp. I paid $600 for these. Very expensive, but so worth it. If you guys are going to get auxiliary lights for your bike, I would definitely recommend these. With these lights, $600, and the Denali CanSmart system, which integrates it into your electronics on the bike, which basically allows you to, you don't have to have an extra button over here, so it cleans it up really well. I can just use my brights button on here, which actually allows it to just go bright, or I can even flash. It gives you a lot of different settings. I can use my wonder wheel to make the brightness up and down. So it gives you a lot of extra features if you use the CanSmart system. You can also integrate a sound bomb with that. You can integrate several pairs of auxiliary lights. You can also integrate a new rear light if you want to do that. So lots of capabilities there with the CanSmart system. You can get that for KTM, BMW. I'm not sure if Triumph has it yet, but you can check that out on the Denali CanSmart and see what it's available for. I know even the lower models, like the lower GS models, you can get it to work on there too. Something else the CanSmart allows you to do is, you know, if you hit your blinker up there, it'll turn both of these off, or if you have them on different pods in the back, you can actually have, okay, if you put on your left blinker, the left one goes off, but the right stays on. You know, something like that, or you can have them flash intermittently. I have it right now so that if I turn on my hazards blink. Maybe I'll show you real quick. All right, turning on my flashers. So as you can see, it alternates between my hazard lights and those. So features like that are what you get when you get the CanSmart. You can go online with a computer and you can change a lot of the settings in the bike. So it's really, really cool. Moving around the bike, Headlight Guard. I think this is absolutely essential. This is a cheap $45 Headlight Guard. I like it. It's perfect. It's got the coloration here. Of course, you get what you pay for, but I didn't want to pay, you know, upwards of $150 for a headlight cover that I didn't think was anything special. And so actually I am just kind of, this is like tiding me over until I can get the one from a bike thing. Those things are incredible. Basically don't even look like you have a cover. So, and these things are really expensive. If you have to replace this, like over $1,000 to replace this whole pod, because you can't just replace the glass, you have to replace the whole thing. So definitely need a headlight cover. the Puig touring windscreen. Man, this is incredible, especially if you don't have the adventure style. Can't believe I didn't do this sooner, especially with the Arai helmet that has a peak on it. I need that extra little, the buffeting to go away off of my helmet. If you're gonna get this screen, you really also need the supports. I just ordered the supports for this, the extra support bracket, so that it really holds, because in higher winds, this thing is quite flimsy, as you can see, and in higher winds, it kind of comes down. Even if it's in high position, it kind of goes down to a medium position because the wind is blowing it so hard. For the touring windscreen, you're looking at about $120, plus you're looking at another, let's say 59, I think it was $59 with shipping, so let's just round it up to 60 bucks for the supports and 120 for the screen. Definitely a must do. I would do it again much sooner if I knew how great it was. I did save a little bit of money. Normally you have to buy a mounting bracket for the DeForest, but I just went ahead and found a way to mount them directly. I got these mounting brackets from Revzilla. I think they were 40 bucks for the mounting brackets here to mount the DeForest, and then I just mounted them directly onto my upper crash guards because I couldn't fit, the way these are mounted, you can't fit the extra support to mount the DeForest, so I just mounted them directly on there. So another thing that I did was a small upgrade, but I changed this out right in here. I changed this into a USB, 2 USB ports here, so I got rid of the DIN socket. This is a 2019 1250GS, and the newer models actually already have the DIN socket located right here, but on the 2019 it didn't have that. So I have done a DIN socket relocator kit that just puts the DIN socket down here so I can still charge the motorcycle with ease. Actually, for the USB port up here, you're looking at, I think it was $35 bucks for that. And then for the DIN socket relocator kit was like 22 bucks. Plus, you know, just installing it myself, no big deal. And that's something else here, guys, is I've done all these installs myself. So if you are looking at not doing any of this yourself, and all these installs are really simple. I would say the most difficult install I did was the Denali's, because I had to figure out how to wire the wires all through here. I had to take a few things off the bike to do that. You know, electronics always kind of wig me out a little, so that was a little bit difficult. But with the CanSmart system, it's super plug and play, very simple. I would say anybody can do that, you know, just a little bit of know-how and a little bit of grit to get through it. The other hardest install I did was on these GV cases, because to actually install the GV rack, you have to take off your passenger peg. You have to take your exhaust off to actually screw this in, because otherwise there's really no way to do it. It'd be super difficult and take a ton of time. Actually, it's kind of difficult to get that exhaust off. You have to really like wiggle it. It took me a little bit to get to it. That was probably the hardest install I did, was on these pannier racks, just because of the exhaust and the wiring for the DeForest. Other than that, everything's pretty simple. All you have to do is unscrew and screw some bolts. Not a big deal. One more thing that I did do as an upgrade is the quad lock. Did another video on that if you want to check it out. That is ranking up at about 65 bucks for the case for your phone and for the mounting system for the bike. All up, I think if I do the math right, you're looking at $1,833 for these upgrades that I've done to this bike. That does not include gear that I have bought over the years. I mean, the gear is very expensive as well. So there you have it. If you are looking to upgrade your GS on a budget, there are some tips and tricks and a couple of things that I put on the bike that I thought were, you know, some areas where I would splurge and some areas where I wouldn't splurge. Some things I think that are important to spend some money, and things I think you can skimp a little bit. So if you are on a bit of a budget, of course, when you buy one of these bikes, everyone's like, oh, why would you put budget gear on an adventure motorcycle that costs this much money? Like, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. Well, I can afford it. I just don't want to spend that money. You know, I think one of the things that allows you to be able to afford something like this is being frugal where you can be frugal, and splurging on the things that are absolutely necessary, like the DeForest. I hope that helps you guys out. I hope you can see some of the things that I've done to the bike, and some of the things that are more quality, some of the things you don't necessarily need huge quality for, some things you can just get by with, and other things you actually need to throw some money down on. All right, guys, if you have any questions on gear or any of the research that I've done when I was trying to put these things together of what I was going to put on the bike, throw that in the comments. I would love to talk to you guys about it. I am going to go hit the road and hit some of these twisties out here. Check out this view. Absolutely incredible. All right, guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Ride safe, and we'll see you on the pavement.